Hello everybody and welcome back. It's been a while. We're gonna have a month break or so from doing the videos, but that turned out to be nearly 4 months. But anyway, so it's now the middle of September after what's been a summer to half really. Cool and wet for the first half, and I think it's been said that this is the coolest summer in 9 years here in the UK. That's probably over the whole of the UK, and whether it's been like that here, I don't really know. Hasn't been that bad, to be fair. So yeah, cool and wet for the first half, and then up from about mid-July it had a flip and it became very dry. Temperatures recovered a lot better than it was before. Nothing with any heat waves or anything like that. We had the odd 4 or 5 days in a row with decent temperatures, and it's gone back to about average. So really overall I'd say it's been about an average British summer. So I'm going to do a tour, have a look around the garden today and see how that's affected everything, see whether everything's grown or not. So yeah, let's go and have a look. So starting from down at the bottom then, you can see that the two miscanthus giganteus that I put in here have grown decent, grown alright this year. They'll grow a lot higher than this next year, but they've done well to say that they were only split at the start of this year, and it's just framing the way in here like I wanted it to. Got a dahlia that's doing well, just coming to flower. A lot of my other dahlias have done nothing this year. This one, nice black foliage one with a red flower. So yeah, that's done alright, I suppose. I divided this cosmopolitan grass and that hasn't done well. It has not had enough water, so hopefully next year that'll be fine. Got a few of the pineapple lilies in flower, really nice flowers on them. Eucomis. So we've got one here, you can see we've got a couple more down there. All these grown from seed. They're about 5 or 6 years from seed to flower again. So it takes a while, but they are worth it. Obviously, at the end of the summer, or going into more of the autumn, wait until the seeds ripen and then just store them over winter, and they'll all germinate, I'm sure. So we'll go over to this bed now. So it's not been ideal for the Ioniums. The rosettes have got bigger. I won't exactly say they put much height on, but still looking nice and healthy, big rosettes on them. So yeah, I'm really liking them in this part of did them in this bed last year. Got a different type here, a red one. Schwarzkopf, maybe that one is, I don't know, I'm not sure what types they are. I put this, I think it's a Princeps hybrid, this one in. It did actually spear pull over the winter. You can see where it's spear pulled here on this one, but it has recovered well, putting out plenty of decent spears on it now. So yeah, that'll be fine. Little hooker in there. I had a salvia amistad in here, but that's died over the winter. I have got another one just over there, can't really see it, so I've took plenty of cuttings off of that. The Camarops Vulcano is growing probably the best it's ever done, and it doesn't look like much, but this is most growth it's ever had, so that's done fine this year. Getting some big spears on it now, so yeah, I'm hoping that will kick into growth. Sort of like sat for 2 years, not really did anything, but this year it's pushed out quite a few fronds. Zabrinus grass has grown well. Nice markings on that, really nice grass this. Does look like it wants dividing. You can see the dead in the middle here, so next year I might just cut it straight through there. Nice grass because it'll stand up straight, doesn't need tying up, won't fall over, so I will move that around the garden. This banana, Musabastu, grown pretty well, to be fair. Obviously I cut this down in the winter, so everything is new, all the leaves, so it's put out a fair few leaves. Still pushing out another one. And the pup's grown well. Nice big new leaf on that one. And we've got a couple of pups coming. So that's always good to see when they're putting out pups. This ginger still growing. It's only put one out this year now. It puts a couple of shoots out. You can see the top of it here. It's starting to expose the roots, so we'll need to cover that over. Yeah, I hope it does flower. They're really nice flowers on these gingers. There is still time. We've got another good month for growing. And if the temperatures do pick up. Yesterday morning we actually had a frost. Not here, not in the garden. I didn't see anything in the garden, but out and about early morning before the sun came up, I could see in some open areas that the grass had a frost on it. But that was just I think that is just a one-off. Just had a cold spell last week and it's back to decent temperatures now. So this Fatsia Jubaica's done pretty well. You can see it's really put some height on it now. This has probably grown from about here this year, I'd say. So these will cover this area, make it quite enclosed in here. It's quite jungly. Another one there. This one has definitely got more leaves on it than this one. But there's a couple of side shoots, probably about 3 or 4 shoots on this one. There's a couple on that one as well, really. So it will all thicken up, become more like this one. My giant bird of paradise, Jubaea Nicolai, pushing this new leaf out. Normally every year I get one leaf, so this will be this year's leaf. Hopefully it'll open up while it's still outside. They do open up a lot better outside than in the house. So yeah, that's just steady away every year. One of the grasses that I divided in here, Cosmopolitan. Again, it's been a bit too dry for it really. Mahonia soft caress. Steady away again, pushing leaves out. I think it'll be flowering soon. My Washingtonia Robusta in a pot, 4 in the pot. Still putting out fronds, looking healthy. I'm going to put this in the ground this year in this spot for definite. I'll cover it in the winter. I just don't like palms in pots. They don't grow as well. So that will be definitely going in the ground. None of my Calocaceae have done well this year. Pink China, this one. They never grow well for me anyway. But it's still going. Hopefully next summer we'll get a warmer summer and they'll grow a lot better. Well, at least I've still got some. Go back round here. Some more Ioniums. Quite a few in this part. Persicaria sticking through here. I'm going to cut that back probably about May next year because it does get a lot very leggy if you don't do that. So it's something I'm going to start doing. This bamboo's grown pretty well in a pot. Nice and wet for it, so the wet weather does let a lot of things do well. Fatsia polycarpa, shield bug on it. You can see that there is something always restricts the growth in here, makes the leaves grow all contorted, and I don't know what it is. Sort of like slime stuff. I always try and take it out, so you end up with leaves like this when they should be like this. Yeah, this is starting to get a decent trunk on it now. The cactus has actually grown really well this year. To say that I haven't been too warm, it's probably grown this. Really fast growing cactus, that one. The Fatsia variegata. You see it's split off here and gone into 3 branches, which will be good because it'll make it branch out. But again, bulletproof hardy, absolutely fine. Whatever the summer and winter can throw at it. Fatsia has grown from there right up here, so probably about a foot of growth on that. Really done well this year. It looks like it's attempting to put another leaf out, but I don't think that'll come to anything. Do you think that might be starting to flower? I would say that that's a flower coming there. Not sure because I've never had it flower before. But yeah, we've got pretty big leaves on it. See, some of these leaves that died off here were massive at the start when it was really wet. Didn't mind the cooler temperatures. So now it's getting up towards the Ferns. But I have to say, is this the world's only Tetrapanax that don't pup? I've never had one pup off this yet. I've checked everywhere, even right out here. We've had nothing. It just doesn't want to pup for me. Even though I'm really desperate for it to, so I can spread them around the garden. It's just not doing it for me. A few cactus in pots here. This was a plant that somebody swapped with me. It's an Aurelia elata, I think it is. I've heard that it's really invasive, so I haven't put it in the ground, even though I think it would look really good in the ground. A few agaves. The Tetrapanax, Trachycarpus fortunei. That will handle anything that the British weather can throw at it. That'll be absolutely fine. Got all the palms that I bought here in pots this year. The Jubaea chilensis, 2 Butea odoratas and 2 Butea yatais. And the yatais have grown really well. Got a bit of this on it, I think it's from the humidity, I'm guessing. But they all got different spears on them. This one's actually gone pinnate. So I'm really happy about that. I did say that I'd plant these in the ground when they go pinnate, but at the minute I'm not sure. I don't know whether I should plant them this tall or whether I should plant one of each and put the other keep the other in a pot. They do need repotting. Odoratas are a lot slower. Still got good centre spears on them. And then the Jubaea chilensis, really long fronds. See, this one's got hit by a bit of something, but it's still got a new spear on it. So yeah, I'm just undecided about whether to put them in the ground, because like I said, I don't like palms in pots, and they'll just grow a lot better in the ground, so much better. So I have opened up some gaps as well for them. This Camerops humilis always gets these markings on it. It's from the winter when they cover the arid bed. This gets covered in with it as well. It doesn't like the lack of airflow, but it soon grows that out and you get good decent green leaves on it. Quite a few palms have got a bit of fungal on them from I think from it's been so wet this year, but I'm sure they'll be fine. Put a couple of Agaves in the ground this year, so we'll see how they do in the winter. Obviously all this will get covered over soon. Nice little agave here. Classic, I'd say a classic agave. Keep that in a pot. Aloe Iris, I can't remember the name of this, but it did flower this year for the first time. This has grown into a really nice plant. Aloe striatula. I was going to take some cuttings off this, but I did forget. I could probably still do some now because it has got plenty of cutting opportunities. Everything in the arid bed probably grown pretty well. See this Montana now really getting some size on it. And the Mediopicta alba, which is now starting to go into that, which I wanted to try and avoid, but when they want to grow they will. A couple of self-seeded aeoniums from the aeonium that I didn't flower last year. There's set seeds everywhere. You can see they're even in this pot and in that pot. Now this is the Ferox, and when it started growing last year, the centre spear were dead. It had too much water dripping into it over the winter, and I knew this was happening, but I just couldn't do anything to stop it. But it is starting to stick out. Pups everywhere inside the plant. You can see these are all over the place. I don't know what's going to happen to this, so I'll have to keep my eye on that. It was really loose, but it has really firmed up now. It's got some roots back down. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen with these. I mean, all these close together ain't going to work. But you can see it's coming out of the centre there. So yeah, I'll have to keep my eye on that one, see what happens with it. This is probably getting a bit too much shade now, the variegata. But it's turning into a decent sized plant. It'll be doing a lot better than what it would be in a pot. This is starting to shade it out a bit now, but even that's getting some really good height on it. We'll have a quick look down here. I bought an olive tree. This was a tenner out of a garden centre where it had gone a bit brown, but it's done absolutely fine. A few olives on it, whether they'll do anything I'm not sure, not holding any hope. But yeah, for a tenner, it's got a decent sized trunk on it. And once it's got its roots down, that'll do well next year. A few plants, I've been selling a few plants this year. That's done really well, to be fair. So if anybody's watching this who's been here and bought some plants, thank you for that, and I'll be doing it again next year. Yeah, it's a really big tree now. I'm going to have to lift it a bit because it's starting to get really dry under there. So we'll go back down here. Have a close up on the pineapple. They're really nice plants, these. And you can see that they do divide themselves, do split up and become multiples. Our Cactus, which has been moved a couple of times, is starting to get some leaves out now. This is me Phoenix Robellini. Did actually suffer a bit in the house last year, so I'm going to keep it in the greenhouse this winter. But it's pushing out a few new fronds. Likes it outside in the summer with a frond here, so it's doing fine, doing absolutely fine. You can see where the trunk has grown this year. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. That is one that I will keep in a pot. That doesn't want to be in the ground. Some plants that I can't, just for the life of me can't remember the name of. It will come to me eventually, but these are the seeds after it's flowered. So you get quite a lot of interest on these plants for quite a long time. Equinox, I love these. You just want to grab these, but they are spiky until they flower properly. But to be fair, I think they have flowered properly already. Quite a lot. I grew all these from seed. Aster coming into flower now. Bit of late season flower. My Hardy hibiscus, which I moved into this spot this year, it did have a couple of flowers on it, but they've gone now. Yeah, it's grown well. To say it's been moved this year. The gunner started off really well, got some huge leaves on it, but since it became dry, I don't really water it that much. You can see how it's fallen over. It's starting to spread a bit now, which is why it's been banned. Got the Judas tree here. This has put on a lot of growth. Really shooting for the sky now, this. Again, I probably will take the gunner out eventually. This is me Jubaea odorata that's in the ground. Nice big new fronds coming on this. It's done fine. Not enough for it this year, but you can see how it's starting to, if I can get down there, you can see how it's starting to push up now. See all the fronds before we're here, but now it's starting to move up a bit. So yeah, really happy with that. Survive winters, no problem. I put a bit of overhead cover over it. Again, there's a bit of markings on them. I think from the humidity this year and the wet. but it'll be fine. Another aeonium in here. This reducer this year's normally it's died off by now because it likes wet. This year's done fine, you can see it's starting to crisp up a bit. This is self-seeded, this sedum, but I don't mind it, it looks pretty good. A bit of interest at this time of year. I put my yucca rostrata in the ground that I were in a pot, and that's doing pretty well. You can see there's plenty of new spears coming. Bit of the Japanese bloodgrass there. This persicaria is flowering again. This is the 4th time this year it's flowered. Nice little foliage on that, looks a bit like a dock leaf, but it definitely isn't. They do spread a lot as well. I thought that this sago we're gonna flush again, but I don't know if it is, it's leaving it a bit too late. It really looks like it is gonna do, but I hope it holds off now and does it waits till next year. Got a hardy begonia down here. I mean, this is normally a lot bigger than this. These are the kind of plants that have been affected this year. The sort of like late sprouting ones. So they hopefully are growing enough to be able to make itself survive over the winter. Got a lot of these now. These spread about, I don't mind them, I think they look pretty good. Don't know what they're called. Another trachea here. Good 3-4 foot of trunk on that one now. Really starting to get a big base on it. And you can see that the canopy is now touching. I mean, I've cut this back once already this year, so it shows how much this has grown. I cut them back so it wasn't over the path, but you can see how tall this one is now. This one won't be far behind it. Probably this time next year this one will be up here, and you'll have that canopy that you can walk through, which is what I really want. You just want the plants to mature now. This is a Jubaea peltata. Again, a wet loving plant. This is, if you don't know, this garden is really well drained, so it's not good for moisture loving plants, but this is done absolutely fine. I'm gonna spread this, divide this here next spring and move that around the garden a bit. Nice little cordyline here. A few different little things, got quite a lot of gaps. I haven't got any photos, but I did have loads of really tall hollyhocks in here this year, so I've took all them out. Because I must have had 30, and some of them were like up here. So if there's a lot of gaps, that's where I've took some of them out and other stuff. Ready for putting my palms in. I'm getting the gaps for them ready so I don't plant anything permanent in them. Again, a few more things here. This is a ginger that looks like it will flower. Hopefully it will. I mean, it looks pretty lifeless at the minute, that, but hopefully it will flower. These cannas have done well. Cannas in this garden don't do well for me. They never flower. I never had a flowering canna before. These have got pretty decent leaves. You see some of them have got really good variegation, some of them not so much. Yeah, I've got plenty of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So loads of cannas. Another 2 ginger leaves on this one, and another one is coming. A little too late, I think, there. And another one here. So yeah, some stuff is starting to come pretty late. I've got a gap here, which I'm going to put one of the bootiers in. Not sure when yet. So if you've had little small plants like that before, let me know when you planted them, or when you think you should be planting them. Yeah, that little olive tree that I bought at the start of this year, I think, putting out decent little growth. A little insect in there, if you can see that. I don't know what that is. Yeah, really excited for the olives. So I'll show you my other olive that's grown really well this year. Once they get the feet down, they do grow pretty well. Virginia, again, absolutely fine. few cannas here. Not as good as them ones. I did have some iris in here this year, and that grew massive. That were really starting to spread round. I think that pushed on the cannas to make them grow taller with the competition. So when they've had much competition, they're pretty small. This spider plant was left out over winter and has come back, which a lot of them will do. Yeah, and I'm not really happy with this bed really. A lot of stuff I'd say is a bit rubbish. There were a lot of hollyhocks in here. You can see there's another one here. I've took a lot of them out. The lilies grew well this year, 6 foot high. Agapanthus, which I'm going to leave these seed heads on because I wanted to seed round. Really like these big long flower stalks on them. Got a few. This is where my pink china was. You can see the growth has just been pretty much non-existent. At least they are spreading, because we've got 3 in here now, and hopefully a better summer next year will make them grow better. There's a nice gap for them here, which I wanted them to fill, which they haven't done yet. A self-seeded fern. These ferns do spread about a lot, which I like, because I really do like ferns. Got a xanthodecia in here, which I've just split, so hopefully that will grow next year, and I think it'll do pretty well in this spot. The Camarops, my biggest Camarops humilis, which I did prune back in the video this year. You can see the nice yellow trunk on that, a really nice trunk. Probably one of the best trunks on a palm, I'd say. So that could do with cutting off again, and I did cut off all the suckers. Like I said in the video before, if you do this and you're not sure, these will grow back. You can see they're all starting to grow back here. And the spider plants that I put in here have done really well. All of them are flowering, so it shows that they are happy to be outside in the summer. And I would say a lot of these probably will survive the winter, especially with the overhead cover that they get off the farm. A couple that hasn't done well, probably a bit too much shade for them maybe, or maybe too dry. Probably not the shade. I mean, you do probably know these are house plants that like shade, but outside they like the sun. They really do like the full sun. So I'm hoping some of these pups will root into the ground. This one has landed on the ground, so hopefully it will root, and it'd be great if all this bed were covered in spider plants. But yeah, again, this Camarops, nice home to spiders. But yeah, that's a beautifully growing palm now. Loads of, you can see how many fronds there is in there at any one time. Bit of colour, which I haven't got so much this year, especially since the hollyhocks have gone down. Yeah, nice little colour from the salvia hot lips. And the euchre at the side of it. Love these little leaves on these. They're veining on that. The Cerifera ticked along, I'd say. It doesn't look much from here. When you get into there, that is a pretty nice looking palm now. And a plant that hasn't done well this year is the Melianthus in this spot. Normally this would be covering all this and it'll be right out here. This year it just hasn't bothered. I'm guessing it's because of the weather, but I don't know. Yeah, it's still there. I mean, whether this will affect it in the winter, I don't know. It's been cut to the ground the last 2 winters from the cold spells that we've had, so whether that's affected it, I'm not sure. The cardoon, I've just chopped these down. These were up here. You can see all the string on the fence that I've tied them up with. But again, that'll just grow like crazy. These are some more of the self-seeded ferns. I think they're from this one, although they do look a bit different, so I'm not quite sure. Can't see any spores on the back of there, or maybe there is. Yeah, but these do grow. You can see how many it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, we keep digging them up and moving around the garden. The Leonidas has just come into flower. Beautiful little flowers on them. I mean, normally the flowers in these are a lot bigger. They only come right up here and it flowers. And there is some flower looks like it's going to flower all of it, so it probably will recover and do pretty well. This is another gap for one of them palms. You can see I've got a few gaps around the garden now. Just if I'm not going to put them in, I will put something temporary in here. I'm just making the gaps now so I know where I'm going to put them. So I think a palm in here. You imagine the boutia palms, the big ones that you've seen. That will look absolutely amazing in here with a melianthus at the back and a cardoon and all the other stuff. Persicaria, this one, red dragon flowering again. I think this is the third time this has flowered this year. Nice little brown little grass in here as well. Really looks good, that grass. This phormium's flowered again. One of them flowers are absolutely huge. Nearly as high as a trachea now. Another. This is what normally happens with the cannas in my garden. Really poor growth. I mean, this one has been swamped this year. I mean, this trachea now, this trunk was above my head. I'm 6'2", so I'd say that trunk now is about 7 foot high. You can see all the new fronds coming out. Absolutely huge palm now. I can walk under this canopy. Exactly what I want in the garden, big canopies. I have cut this one back as well away from the path, which I don't normally do, but I felt I had to. Because now you can see the Myonia. This is a spiky one. Really nice leaves on that. Nicer in the background like that. And even that's gone right up to the sky now. There's a self-seeded euphorbia mellifera in there. Another euphorbia which I thought were dying off, because a lot of it were like this, but it has come back this year. I've tried to take cuttings off this, but they get to a certain point and then they die. So I might try that again. But it's a really nice euphorbia, this, for a bit of shady, a dappled shade spot. Some more of these echinops here. Some really big ones. And this has done really well, the Sambucus nigra. That's done really well this year. I've got some cuttings off that. I mean, that has gone right. I mean, I chop this right back down every year, coppice it right down, pollard it. You can see that's gone 10 foot plus. So yeah, that is a really nice dark foliage plant when you compare it with the yellow of the choice here. So I'm really happy with that. And there's a fatsia in there as well. Starting to layer the plant in. Right, this is a long video. I know I played money about halfway through. There's a lot to catch up on. And now one palm that has done really well, surprisingly, is this Jubaea. You can see now it's starting to go up a bit. I was worried about whether this would affect it. This did spear pull, so this is the old trunk that's sort of like died off, but it's starting to like merge into it now, hopefully. You can see how much it's gone up here. I mean, that's not a tiny bit of growth, but this, from what this has done in the past, this is pretty good growth. Again, a bit of what I'm thinking was from the humidity and the wetness at the start of the year. You can see the new fronds are unaffected. We've got a big new frond coming there. I do cover this in winter, which is going to become harder this year because it has, like I said, put a lot of height on. So I will cover it again just in case. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. That could be a great palm. This, which I had the name in my head and it has just gone, but that's flowering now. How red. Don't really pick up on the video how red that actually is. Bright red. And that did flower last year in one spot. You can see how big the plant is. The name has completely gone from your mind. This sago hasn't flushed this year. I did move that from back there last year. It's a lot happier in this spot. But it's kept its green on the leaves. I will cover that this winter. Hopefully it'll grow. My passion flower were really slow. I actually thought that were dead. That were really slow to get going this year. It has got going now. But I mean, normally this is covering everything. It's normally out here. right out here just growing. You can see it's having a go now, but that was really slow. Guessing from the winter or from the cool start to the summer. The pineapple over there. But yeah, you know, I've said it before, I mean, look how amazing the flowers are. If that's not exotic, I don't know what is. Here you can see the grape as well. That's making a move this year. Trying to get into next door neighbour's garden. Another self-seeded euphorbia. I was hoping to sell, I dig a lot of these up and I often try and sell them all, but take a bit of selling them. People not really interested in them. You can see mine there. I cut that right back last year because it was getting long and leggy, but it's come back well. This choice here, I was thinking about taking this out to put a palm in. I'm not sure now. I thought about maybe trying to feather it up a bit, but I don't think that'll work because it is, you know, there's branches all over. So yeah, so I'm not really sure about this. It does look well. It does look good, especially like I said with the contrast to this. And then the euphorbia in the background. Coming to the more shady area of the garden now. The sun has come out, it's a nice sunny day now. Nice and warm as well. The Phoenix Canariensis. I think I paid 20 quid for this earlier this year. A good sized plant, a nice stretch plant. I like stretch plants. And that, I mean, you've got to watch out, you can't really put your hand in there because of these spikes. But yeah, we've got quite a few fronds coming out on that. I will build a cover over that this year. Tie the fronds up and put some polycarbonate shelter around it. And that probably will help the callistemon as well, because that got hit really hard. Not last winter, the one before, and it's still recovering. Still alive. I wasn't sure if this were alive, to be fair. But definitely still alive. You can see all the new growth. We had a couple of flowers in it as well. You can see the growth is actually better at the bottom now. This is a big new branch. Yeah, I think if I can get any decent height on this. I mean, I know how big these grow. Probably the biggest one on YouTube from Jim's garden. Jim's Palms. So if that got this big here, I mean, I probably will have a bit of trouble with it. But I don't think it will. The Garria elliptica. Starting to get these catkins on it now. You can see the old ones here. This does look really good when that grows. When they grow, it just looks like Spanish moss hanging off it. Starting to get it to go over the path to make it like a little way in. Yeah, this could be a really great tree for this part of the garden, just to start the jungle part of the garden. I've got a Kentia palm in a pot outside for the summer, pushing out new fronds. That's absolutely happy in here. Took no sun damage, apart from maybe a tiny bit, but that's done absolutely fine out here. This dahlia, which is actually one that from down there, what we're flowering, which I dug up, so there's still bits of bulbs in there of that. So I will dig that up because it won't do well in this spot. That persicaria always dries out. I don't know why I put it under this tree. Always dries out, how much rubbish. So that will need cutting back. This cordyline, which struggled for years, is actually starting to go for the light now. You can see how the trunk is bent, how it's trying to find the light. This was just murdered by slugs. I put a couple of monsteras in the ground. You can see it's thinking about putting a new leaf out. So yeah, I'll mulch this heavily in the winter, see if it comes back next year. Got this fuchsia. This part of the garden was really wash shaded from the big buddleia that I had in here. But now there's a bit more. It's still shaded, but there's a bit more space. So this fuchsia, which I mean, I thought fuchsias all like this sun, but this one seems to love it in the shade. Beautiful flowers on it. Very undervalued plant of fuchsia. Really tropical. Got a couple of these hardy bromeliads, which I'm going to let them. they will spread round, so I'll let them spread round this area. Really exotic looking them. That flowered again this year. Now this tree fern, which I don't really know what's happening with it, it's put a good frond out, and then a lot of these smaller ones. So I don't know if it's starting to open up a new head. You just can't get in there to see what's happening. I thought it were dead, to be fair. It took a couple of bad winters. For some reason this one gets affected and this one over there doesn't, even though you've got all the cover. Not so much from the Paulownia. So yeah, it's definitely still alive, so that's the good thing. But let's have a look at this Paulownia, which I cut down to here last year, and we can see how big that is. Like a beanstalk, like a giant beanstalk. If a giant come down there, you just wouldn't be surprised how big that grows every year. Big side shoots, like I said, all these are new. I cut this was a stick, that was just a stick, and you can see how much it tries to grow. Paulownia tomentosa. I've tried to propagate it, but it seems impossible. Yeah, huge plant in here. It's crying out for a plant in this spot. I just don't know. I put one of the variegated Acubas in here, Acuba. So that literally went in the other day. But yeah, it needs something else in this spot. Because once the cardoon goes over, there's not much here. This Melianthus has done a lot better than the other one. Getting up towards 5 foot now. And I've got my Scheffler Taiwaniana in it. Still trying to push some new fronds out, but that's grown well. Really happy with that. I think it likes it in this spot. You can see the new growth, not much, but for the first year you expect that. And I've got my loquat tree. I were after these for years, and you can see, this is all the new growth off that, and it's starting to split up, branch out, shall I say. So we're getting some decent branching on that. This will be a really nice tree for this spot. These always do nice and well. Plenty of seeds on them, they do spread about a lot. All the grasses are starting to flower now. They just come back and do well every year. Chop them right down soon. Plenty of pups off this banana. I did sell a couple of pups this year. They went really quick. A lot of people are interested in them, so I will probably dig one or two of these up. There's one at the back there, so there's plenty to go at. You can see pups coming all the time. So yeah, and then the main plant, wind damaged, but absolutely fine. Not so many leaves out this year, but you can see the growth. This is I'll come back to that because I forgot the name of that as well. So let's just have a look at this olive tree. Can't see it from here, let's go round here. So I bought this in the spring of 2023. Just a lollipop shaped olive from Morrison's. Can't really see there. Just look at how big that is now. Now that's in a year and 4 months, maybe, something like that. From a tiny little trunk, you can see how big this trunk is now. It's starting to branch out, and it is 6 foot high at the top here. Really well, really good growth, really fast growth. You might be thinking that olives take a long time to grow the big trunks like they do, the big gnarled trunks. But for actual just leaf growth, they are really quick once they get the feet down. Maybe this is growing better here because it's looking for the sun. So it did have a couple of flowers on it, but it pretty much aborted that. But I had to concentrate on more on getting up, which is what I wanted to do, to be fair, because you're never going to get olives off them. So yeah, that's grown really well. The name just come back to me for this, but it's gone again. But I'm sure you know what it is. Big Crocosmia Lucifer, there it is. Loads of seeds on this. I want these to seed, but the one actually has seeded further down the garden. Maybe it's that from the birds or whether I actually took some seed out of it, but I really want this to seed round. Big plant that, with a helenium in the background. We've got a couple of figs on the fig tree. There's a few on here. See how they do. But this has grown. And this was a dwarf one. This is 6 foot high now. I'm sure it said it was only going to grow to 5 foot. So there you go. But yeah, nice little exotic looking tree. In the sun. Will grow big hopefully. Or grow out, should I say. Nice looking euchre here. And this aspidistra, which I'm going to split this year because I really like that. Nice little ground cover plant. I cut this Persicaria right back and you can see this is where I planted it, and look how far it's going, and that is literally in 1 year. So they will try and take over the world. Now this is a Scheffler macrophylla, which it's got some pretty big leaves on it now, to be fair. You can see how big some of these are. This is from a bottom leaf. It's got another stem on it as well, so multi-stemmed. But yeah, these leaves sometimes are tiny, sometimes they're pretty big. You will have seen bigger ones of these, but I think once it gets its feet down, it should be fine. And I will say, while I'm here, we actually went on holiday to Brazil this year, to Rio de Janeiro, and that really, looking at the tropical climate that they have there, and the plants that we call house plants that are just planted out on the street there, sort of like monsteras, huge palms, foxtail palms, imperialis palms, huge palms, bromeliads growing everywhere, Spanish moss off all the trees, just all natural, and all the wildlife. It really got me going again and made me think, yeah, I want to do that in my garden. So yeah, I put a couple of pictures on from there. But back home now, Begonia luxurians. Probably not its best growth ever. It's grown pretty well. It didn't grow as well as it did last year. It's starting to flower. We can see how it's sort of like stops growing here, but that's because this big formium were here. 4 flower spikes, and that really did knock a lot out of it because a lot of the fronds on it were brown. So I am going to take this out. I'm thinking about putting that Jubaea in there. A lot of space for it here. It will grow into a big palm, so I think it will do well there. Just don't know when to put it in. But I'm going to dig this out, divide it, probably sell all the good bits of it. Some of it are pretty dead. I'll sell all the good bits hopefully. And yeah, I don't know whether to put the Jubaea in yet or not, but if not, I'll put something temporary in here. Yeah, you can see now it's starting to grow from the back now, starting to fill out. Yeah, it's going pretty well. This pretty big frond on it, big leaves, really nice plant that. I'm actually propagating that now, and it looks like it's taken, so that'd be good to have some more of them. This looks like a Mexican daisy or something. I really like this. Comes round here, nice flowers on it. Put a couple of the Virginia in there, and this Moa's toes. This time last year, the Scheffler and the Moa's toes were the same size. You see how much that's grown this year, and it's starting to branch off into a tree as well. I really do like this. I don't know how hard it is. Covered it the last 2 years, but I won't be able to do that this year, so it'll have to stand up on its own. This hasn't done so well. There's the catalpa. Again, I pollard this every year, but yeah, I don't know if it like the grass. I might have to push the grass back a bit next year, so divide up the grass a bit, give it a bit more room. But this never does really well. I'm not sure why. Got another mellifera in there. That's a self-seeded one, but I'm letting it grow because I think it will do a good job in this spot. A few more eucomis. Even the eucomis can flower in the shade. I've put my rubber plant outside for the summer, and you can see that that's starting to branch. Quite a lot of branch on that. That's done absolutely fine out here in the shade in what we call a cool summer. See a bit of variegation in the leaves there. They will probably turn fully green like this. They do tend to keep a little bit more coloured outside, which I like. Got a little Monia in here, soft grass. This tree fern, pretty much all of these new fronds. Getting a good chunk on it now. And this was tiny when I bought it. It was a tiny 20 quid one, trunk to about here. So you can see it's nearly a foot tall now. Really healthy tree fern, that. Huge fronds on it. See some of these probably about a metre long. Starting to slow down now for the winter. All the leaves in there which will feed it, which are leaving. This Fatsia spider's web doesn't seem to be growing any high. I really want this to grow high, but it just seems to be growing out. So this is probably as big as it'll go. Really nice shrub. See, some of the variegation is really white, some of it not so much, so you got a lot of variation on it. These are really green. But yeah, if you look under here, plenty of shoots, plenty of stems, but just doesn't seem to want to grow high, which is what I wanted to do. The little honeysuckle there going crazy. I've trained my grey pover here onto the shed, so we get this little bit of a walk through. No grapes in this year. I did cut it right back last year. It did keep getting fungal on it. I think it were overcrowded. And then when you look now, just cutting it back didn't really make a difference. Just stopped it from flowering and fruiting. Got this Fatsia camouflage in here, which I'm actually thinking I might dig it up and put it over near the Tormentosa Paolo in here. Don't really like it in this spot here, even though it seems to like it. When I come back foliage, I had box caterpillar on my box edge here. There were loads and loads on it. They got to here and then suddenly disappeared. So I don't know, I didn't do anything. I was looking on Google at what you could do, and then one day I came out and they're gone. So they've just literally devastated a foot there and left the rest. So I was thinking it would have to all come out because they'd just take it all. So yeah, so I don't know what happened there. This Brugmansia is not done so well. I don't know if it's because it's shaded here or it's because of what we've had in the summer. It has flowered. Still getting flower buds on it. Plenty of flower buds. I'm going to take some cuttings off this soon. Root them in water. Yeah, not done too well this year. You can see it's not growing out that way. It doesn't like the shade, so I will have to think of somewhere new for this again. Because everywhere I've put it, it's ended up getting too shady for it. They like a bit of protection. So I'm thinking maybe over there next year in that gap. It is quite a difficult place this now with this big acer here. It's really dry and shaded under here, not much will do well. I put a little Acuba in there, got that little fern in there. Yeah, it's becoming a bit of a problem area this. I really need to lift the canopy on the acer. Even though it will still be dry, there might be a bit more light getting in there. Couple of monsteras in there. They're still in the pots, I might actually plant them. This mellifera self-seeding in here, so that does actually like it, I think. It hasn't died yet anyway. I moved this plant into here, it's just a cutting from down the garden. That's not really doing anything, so that don't seem to like it either. All the top growth has died. So yeah, becoming a bit of a problem. I really need this tree to grow up now and become just like a stem without leaves on, just to get a bit more light into there. Will stay dry, but yeah, it'd become a bit of a problem now. This was actually supposed to be like a knot garden. I really like the idea of a knot garden. You can see the box edge in here, but then I never thought about what I'm actually going to put in there, because I used to prune this tree round, like lollipop shape it, so you still got all the sun in. Now I've let it grow. I've got myself into a problem, so if you know anything that is exotic, tropical looking, but likes dry shade, then let me know and I'll get something in here, because yeah, it's not a great area. Right, I think that's it. It's been a real long one this time. I hope you're still watching, and if you are, thanks for watching. Bye.